Hi YouTube, this is Jack, Paranormal Jack. Just wanted to pop in with some quick thoughts. I saw a fascinating article by David Hoffman. This is actually a video by David Hoffman, who is a documentary filmmaker, and he has made many documentaries over the years. Well, as it happens, back when George Bush Sr. was running for vice president with Ronald Reagan, he was interviewed by David Hoffman, and he told Hoffman and the sound guy that was there that he had seen the body of an alien. George Bush Sr., vice president, president, director of the CIA, claims that he saw the body of a dead alien. He said, you know, those little green men that you hear about? Well, I saw the body of one. And so the filmmaker has kept this under the lid for all these years. And now he's finally coming out revealing that George Bush Sr. Saw an alien. And this was had to be in his capacity as the director of Central Intelligence, which is very interesting because there is a prominent person in the UFO field, Clifford Stone, who actually participated in crash retrievals. That is, he actually was part of a team that would, descend on a UFO if it crashed and try to interact with the occupants, retrieve the technology. I think their main focus was on the technology, but Clifford Stone was their interfacer. He is a sensitive, and he could communicate with these beings because they communicate telepathically. And so he claims that in his decades of working with the U.S. military on alien crash retrievals, that the director of Central Intelligence was the leader in the group that was dealing with the phenomenon. And that is what George Bush Sr. was. So was George Bush Sr. leading some sort of MJ-12 kind of group dealing with aliens and alien ships? Now, I think that's a great question. Now, George only said he saw one alien, one body, one time, and he didn't hint at anything beyond that. So, who knows? He was obviously a very closed-mouthed person, top spy, director of CIA. He's not going to say more than he thinks that he should. But there's very, evocative, tantalizing. What did he know? I tend to believe Clifford Stone. I think he's telling the truth. I think he really did participate in these UFO crash retrievals and was part of this whole thing. But I do think that he was, on a lower level. He was just, this was a part-time gig. He had a day job with the military, and every now and then when there was a crash, they would call him in because he had these sensitivities. But he was not a high-ranking person within whatever structure that is that deals with these things. So I don't think that he had necessarily the scoop on this. If you've read Philip J. Corso's book, Colonel Philip J. Corso, he was a top military Pentagon guy back in the 60s. High ranking, high level dude, and he claims to have managed the Roswell file, and that is that he helped orchestrate the military's reverse engineering of the technology that they acquired at the Roswell UFO crash, and theoretically other crashes as well. And he said the CIA was very interested in this, and there was kind of a war between the agencies He was with the Army, and but the Air Force had an interest as well, and they, according to Corso, had most of the material. And that makes sense. They have Area 51, they've got the saucers, that's Bob Lazar, that's that whole thing. So it makes perfect sense to me that the Air Force would have the bulk of this stuff, and that they would be running the show, or at least part of the show. They really seem to have a vested interest in this, and to be on it and engaged in it and keeping it secret from the rest of us. It was Air Force soldiers that showed up on the USS Nimitz to demand the data files. So they were suppressing this even from the Navy, and they had some authority even over the Navy, which is, that's fascinating. So what does that mean? At any rate, I believe that Colonel Corso was telling the truth when he said that the CIA was very interested in this phenomenon, and they were seeking to acquire stuff, but as of yet, they did not have much of it. So Corso is saying the Army had some, and they were able to farm this technology out to various industries, giving us, the transistorized microcircuit and various other technologies leading to our modern world, basically. Fiber optics, all sorts of stuff that we would not have gotten without these crash retrievals, according to Corso. And of course, there were other people involved in the reverse engineering the alien technology before Corso came on duty, going back to when it happened. Anyway, so I believe Corso. I think he's a good military guy, very solid. His testimony is very solid. I think Clifford Stone's testimony is pretty solid. I tend to believe Clifford Stone. I believe that he was involved in these things. I don't believe his claims that the CIA director was running the whole show. Otherwise, I think George Sr. would have said more than he saw a body one time. I think he would have hinted at something more if he was going to reveal this. He was in his cups at the time. He was drunk on a plane. All the sound was off for the documentary. He had his guard down, and he let this slip. I think if he was inclined to let things slip, he probably would have let slip a little bit more if he had been the mastermind behind it all. But still a fascinating incident that shows that the director of the CIA did have some involvement in all this, and he was read into it to a certain extent. And it may be the same extent that the president is read into, which seems to be a fairly low level. They don't seem to know everything. They only have part of the picture. Anyway, that's my take on it. What is your take on it? Please let me know in the comments below. As always, like and subscribe. Hopefully the sound is better in this room. It's got couches and rugs and stuff. So let me know if the sound is working for you in this new format. If this works, if the sound works, I'm going to try to figure out a way to do screen sharing in this room until I get my studio set up. And I am setting up a studio with acoustic foam on the walls and stuff, so that the sound will be better in the studio. So anyway, let me know your thoughts on all of this. Is the CIA director in charge of the alien agenda for the government? What else is going on? Okay, let me know. Talk to you next time. That's my cat in the background, one of them. Okay, later.